is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
We're for sure more scared because of my employees, and we're all worried if it's going to happen again.
Now at 11 and streaming live on CBS News Los Angeles. Fed up and terrified. Local retailers are at their wits' end over a recent string of so-called mob thefts. Welcome to KCAL News at 11 on CBS Los Angeles. I'm Ross Palumbo.
And I'm Leslie Marin. We're streaming on CBS News Los Angeles.
Tonight, some of those thieves have been busted in an undercover operation.
And KCAL News reporter Lori Perez tells us how cops are cracking down on these organized retail thefts.
This is just one mall that has been hit a few times. These arrests are the latest results of a few new strategies focused on combating these so-called mob thefts and smash and grabs around the Southland. This was the scene from the most recent, not the only time the Nike community store in East LA has been hit in recent months by so-called mob thefts. But finally, it might get some relief. The LA County Sheriff says undercover officers work with Nike security and for the last 2 days did surveillance, leading them to make 10 arrests, including 4 felonies, and recover $3 grand in products for Nike. That follows the state attorney general announcing Friday 4 people under arrest and charged with felonies for smash and grabs at high-end stores in LA and Riverside counties, including this YSL, taking more than $750 grand in goods.
You know, I think from our perspective, we'll take any help we can get at this point.
To combat scenes like this playing out at stores and malls across the Southland, in recent weeks, the Los Angeles Police Department formed an organized retail crime task force. The state attorney general announced a new partnership between the Justice Department and more than a dozen retailers and online marketplaces to track stolen goods, and the governor tripled CHP enforcement in LA. But the president of the California Retailers Association says her members want more, including changes to policies like Prop 47, a ballot measure approved by 60% of state voters in 2014 that reduced certain theft and drug possession offenses from felonies to misdemeanors.
Instead, what we see is more and more, zero bail. That is not going to help the situation. You know, we are pandering, in my opinion, to people who are committing crimes at the expense of law-abiding citizens.
It's been a few days since the Wig Ferry in Beverly Hills was targeted by this trio. Security camera video shows them stealing dozens of wigs customized for cancer patients. We spoke to the owner on the phone tonight. She told us she's more frustrated and frightened than ever.
We're for sure more scared because every day the girls and my employees, we're all worried if it's going to happen again. We had to have taken such security measures where we never even imagined that was going to be a thing at our salon. But now apparently it is, because it's just happening so much more than it was ever happening before.
The Wig Ferry owner says police told her they have a lead that the people who broke into her store might have targeted other stores in the area. Investigators say street gangs are running some of these hits on retailers. In Glendale, I'm Lori Perez, KCAL News.
Well, developing tonight, a man is in the hospital after being shot by police in Highland Park. Officers got a call about an assault with a deadly weapon this afternoon. When police arrived on Knowlton Street, they say they spotted that suspect in a stairwell coming at them with a large knife. That is when they shot him. The 51-year-old man was taken to a hospital and is expected to survive. Well, in Watts, a body was found outside a pickup truck on 112th Street this afternoon. Police say the victim was slumped over the wheel. They say a gunshot was heard in the area, but they haven't ruled the incident a homicide.
A deadly crash in South LA, leaving 3 people dead, 3 others seriously hurt. The LAPD says an Uber driver with 4 passengers was T-boned by a white sedan that ran a red light. Witnesses say that driver was going extremely fast.
He was probably going more than 80, 85. Hit the Uber driver. The Uber driver literally went all the way, did a full turn, and her whole car was messed up. Everything from the back was messed up. The passengers, the 2 girls were on the back. You know, it sucks.
The victims are all women, 2 of them 23 years old and a 27-year-old. Now to Glendale, where a passenger train and a car crashed. It all happened in an area of San Fernando Road and Durant Street just before 6 o'clock tonight. Paramedics say the driver, the only person in the car, was found walking nearby and wasn't hurt. No one on the train, fortunately, was hurt either.
Well, a 10th bus of migrants from Texas arrived in Los Angeles this morning. We know the bus left Brownsville, Texas yesterday and arrived at Union Station this morning. Mayor Karen Bass's office says they are aware of the bus. They became aware of it yesterday and are working with local charities and groups to help those migrants. Now, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has been sending busloads of migrants to LA since June after LA's Sanctuary City declaration.
Well, turning to our weather, a big warm-up is on the way.
Yeah, KCAL's Olga Ospina here now with your next weather forecast, Olga.
Yeah, we're talking 90s and 100s. Once again, returning to Southern California. Numbers are up, so we already started feeling the warming trend today for those inland spots. If you're in the valleys, the Inland Empire, things are really going to be heating up. We're looking at some clear skies outside this evening, and as we take a look at temperatures, we are in the 60s for a lot of us. After a pretty warm day, we had some 90s across some of those inland spots. 73 right now in Palmdale as we head into the LA area. 68 at LAX. We have 66 in Santa Monica. For the Orange County area, still a few 70s out there. Low 70s in Santa Ana into Tustin, as well as your Belinda. Inland Empire 70s and even 80s. 81 in San Jacinto as we head into Fontana. 72 degrees. Upper 70s in San Bernardino. Low 90s in Palm Springs and 70s for Lake Arrowhead. Chilly in Big Bear City, checking in at 50 degrees. We'll talk about excessive heat warnings. We have heat advisories going into effect. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Olga. Tonight, the love is pouring in for game show host, legend, and a beloved member of the CBS family, Bob Barker.
Yeah, Mr. Barker died today at the age of 99 at his home in the Hollywood Hills.
Bob Barker reminding you, help control the pet population. Add your pet's spayed or neutered. Goodbye, buddy.
The avid animal activist hosted The Price is Right for 35 years.
Bob Barker was nearly 100 years old, but still fans and friends are having a hard time accepting that he's gone.
And KCAL News reporter Lauren Posen picks up our coverage from Hollywood on the Walk of Fame.
Throughout the day, people have been stopping by here to Bob Barker's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. They've been leaving flowers and taking pictures. You know, to his fans, he was an icon. The Price is Right is how many of Bob Barker's fans know him best. But the legendary host began his career in 1956, hosting the game show Truth or Consequences. His charm, humor, and compassion for animals
Have your pets spayed or neutered.
made the beloved host a household name in appointment TV across generations.
I grew up watching Price is Right, and it was like a treat when you're homesick, and you got to watch Price is Right every day from 11 to 12.
That's why his passing Saturday at the age of 99 has left so many heartbroken.
I'm so in shock and a little sad because it won't be the same knowing he's not around.
If there's one man that knows Barker's relationship with his fans best, it's Roger Neal, his longtime publicist.
The fans loved him and he loved them.
Neal says what made Barker stand out from other hosts is how gracious he was.
He would talk to them in between commercial breaks. He would speak to them. He'd answer questions. Somebody would want to come up and hug him or give him a kiss, of course. Don't squeeze. His line was always, "Don't squeeze me too hard."
Barker's legacy lives on in a special section of the Hollywood Museum. Some of his 19 Emmys are on display, along with one of the suits he wore hosting The Price is Right. Fans say there will never be a host like him again.
His humor, he just lit the show up to me, you know what I mean? You can have a lot of hosts, but he will always be the original.
Barker's publicist told us throughout the years, Bob received thousands of letters and later emails from his fans. He said he read each and every single one of them. He says Bob always appreciated the support he got from them. Reporting in Hollywood, Lauren Posen, KCAL News.
And this afternoon, I spoke to one of the former announcers on The Price is Right. His name is Rich Fields. You may remember him as one of our KCAL meteorologists here. Rich had fond memories of the legendary man that he called a friend.
What I remember the most is that in person, he is absolutely the well-spoken gentleman that you see on TV. Bob is just, he's like your grandfather. Everything in his mind, he doesn't cuss or swear. When he does it as a punchline and a joke.
Bob Barker's TV career Led him to 19 daytime Emmys, 19, and a Lifetime Achievement Award. He was also inducted into the Television Academy's Hall of Fame back in 2004. What a great,
incredible legacy.
Yeah,
right?
great man.
Well, coming up, scary moments during a football game after a woman was shot by a stray bullet at Maya Angelou High School.
2 hikers rescued from the Angeles forest. How they were able to signal for help there.
And a jaw-dropping violent crash tonight at Daytona that sent that car flipping numerous times. We have more on that later on Sports Central.
Tonight, we're learning a woman was shot during a high school football game in South LA. It all happened last night at Maya Angelou High School. Police and LAUSD tell us someone opened fire outside of the game here, and a 34-year-old woman was hit by a stray bullet. She was then taken to the hospital, and still no word tonight on her exact condition. Also developing tonight, a deadly mass shooting in Florida being called a hate crime. 3 people were killed when a gunman here opened fire inside of a Dollar General store. The suspect was described as wearing a tactical vest, mask, and gloves. The sheriff says the shooter was targeting black people and that one of his guns had a swastika on it. That gunman later shot and killed himself.
This is a dark day in Jacksonville's history. Any loss of life is tragic, but the hate that motivated the shooter's killing spree adds an additional layer of heartbreak.
The sheriff says the shooter also left behind writings about his motivations, including mentioning something about today being the anniversary of another deadly shooting in that city.
Well, marching on Washington 60 years later, today a new generation honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous words.
I have a dream. Let's not give up. Let's not give in. Let's not give out. We must move forward.
Thousands gathered near the same spot where Martin Luther King Jr. was standing. His son, Martin Luther King III, led the charge. They marched from Lincoln Memorial to King Memorial, and some of the people in the crowd were also there back in 1963.
It was much like today, except it was shoulder to shoulder. People, we could barely walk. And we could not stay in hotels because they were segregated at that time.
The actual anniversary is on Monday. King and his family are expected to meet with President Biden and Vice President Harris to commemorate the occasion.
There was some help today for those impacted by the Hollywood strikes, and it's not just for writers and actors. A resource fair was held today at the Prop House in North Hollywood for anyone impacted by the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike, including small businesses like florists, caterers, and dry cleaners.
You know, we want to broaden people's perspectives about who's being impacted and be real about what people might need, right? Like, I think you can sort of detach yourself and think about this sort of glamorous crisis, but it's very real. It's hitting people at home. It's hitting people where they can't pay their rent, they can't put their food on the table, they're worried about their kids.
The LA County Department of Economic Opportunity was one of the sponsors of this event. They wanted to get the word out that there are a number of city and county resources available for anyone who needs help.
Well, 2 hikers are recovering tonight after being rescued from the Angeles National Forest. They were hoisted to safety this afternoon from Rattlesnake Peak after suffering from heat exhaustion and distress. Now, the LA County Sheriff's Department provided this video to us. Rescuers say the hikers called for help with their iPhones.
For anyone impacted by the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike, including small businesses like florists, caterers, and dry cleaners.
You know, we want to broaden people's perspectives about who's being impacted and be real about what people might need, right? Like, I think you can sort of detach yourself and think about this sort of glamorous crisis, but it's very real. It's hitting people at home. It's hitting people where they can't pay their rent, they can't put their food on the table, they're worried about their kids.
The LA County Department of Economic Opportunity was one of the sponsors of this event. They wanted to get the word out that there are a number of city and county resources available for anyone who needs help.
Well, 2 hikers are recovering tonight after being rescued from the Angeles National Forest. They were hoisted to safety this afternoon from Rattlesnake Peak after suffering from heat exhaustion and distress. Now, the LA County Sheriff's Department provided this video to us. Rescuers say the hikers called for help with their iPhones' SOS satellite technology.
Well, and heat exhaustion, again, a very real danger as we move forward into a coming heat wave.
Yeah, we want to get to Olga Ospina, who is tracking this next weather forecast. We're already feeling it this weekend.
Yeah, we already felt it today. We're going to continue feeling those warmer temperatures on Sunday. And really, this is kind of just the beginning of it. As you'll see here in our next weather headlines, that warming trend lasting into the upcoming week with the peak of the heat Monday into Tuesday. This is when we could actually even break some records. Along the coastline, though, morning and night, low clouds and fog along the coastline. So I'll show you that here in just a moment. We also have some alerts going into effect. Heat advisory as well as the stronger excessive heat warning. That's going to be across, really impacting most of our inland spots except right along the coastline. So we're going to see this going into effect on Monday morning and continuing all the way through Tuesday evening. And our radar showing us that we're looking at some clear conditions, but in the morning time, yes, those coastal areas will start feeling the impacts of the clouds and then even spreading a few miles inland for parts of LA into Orange County. By late morning, really, it's mostly confined just to the coastline, and then even beaches see some clearing and plenty of sunshine by the afternoon hours. So it is going to be a nice one. Again, the next several days, just warm and some cloudy conditions for the coastal areas, which will clear out by the afternoon. So temperatures for tomorrow. Inland spots, 90s. We have plenty of 100s out through Santa Clarita into many parts of the Inland Empire. We have 104 in Chino, 103 in Riverside, 106 in Hemet, 114 for Palm Springs. And along the coastline, we have 88 in Malibu, 95 in Fullerton, 81 degrees in Wrightwood. It's going to be a nice, warm summer day and not too many days left of summer. We have 28 days until the beginning of autumn officially, 9 days until Labor Day. That's already going to be 1 week from Monday, 66 until Halloween. Here is a check of the 7-day forecast. Temperatures in the 80s, upper 80s tomorrow. So we're going to be feeling those above average temperatures as an area of high pressure starts to push in from the east, and it's going to nudge up those numbers into the 90s by early next week, all the way through midweek. For the valleys, that means triple digit heat for some of you all the way through Wednesday, and then temperatures dropping back down into the 90s by Thursday. For the Inland Empire, 102 for tomorrow, 90s by Thursday for you also. And for the beaches, 70s and 80s over the next few days. Some good beach days headed our way. And for the high desert, we're also looking at that triple digit heat with temperatures lowering as we head into the latter part of the week. For the mountain areas, 70s as well as some 80s over the next 7 days. Back to you guys.
In center field, California, give them the crown. They win the United States Championship.
It was a big victory for LA. The All-Stars from El Segundo now headed to the Little League World Series Championship. The team beat Texas this afternoon in a 6-1 game to become the U.S. champions. They will play for the World Championship tomorrow against Curacao.
And it was all cheers and smiles in El Segundo today as the team claimed that title. Look at that, dozens gathering at the Rockin' Brews for a watch party to cheer the team on to victory. Even one of the players' fathers was on hand to celebrate.
Way to go!
Yeah, let's go!
We've been loving this whole community and everything else. El Segundo coming together. These little boys they're fighting out there. It's awesome.
We had a great time watching them, and they did pretty good, and we won. That's how it turned out.
It's been unreal, unimaginable. When they talk about what dreams come true, this is it. This is what every Little Leaguer dreams of.
And some of the money from the event is being donated to help the players' parents cover the cost. The community is already gearing up for tomorrow's big World Series game.
And liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon, go Crew 7.
Coming up is liftoff. 4 astronauts aboard Falcon 9 taking off to the International Space Station, and we are going to meet the only American on board.
Plus, college football is finally here with number 6 USC opening their season tonight at the Coliseum against San Jose State. We have those highlights more ahead on Sports Central.
liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon, go Crew 7.
This NASA and SpaceX rocket blasting off for the International Space Station. 4 astronauts inside, taking off from Kennedy Space Center. Where else? In Florida. Look at her go.
Yeah, the mission's commander is a veteran Marine combat helicopter pilot and a mother of twin girls making her first trip to space. She's the only American on board.
It is already a fantastic journey just to get to that point, right? Mark Strassman talked to her about her journey to reach those stars.
Jasmine Mogbelli, stuck on the stars and on making her dream happen in the cosmos.
I always knew I wanted to be an astronaut.
You've been playing the long game since you were in 6th grade.
Yes, it's pretty funny because in my 6th grade yearbook, you know, that there's that page of what everyone wants to be, and mine says astronaut.
Astronaut camp as a teenager, the daughter of Iranian political refugees. College at MIT. She played 3 sports, including basketball, and with space in mind, studied aeronautical engineering. Then a gutsy career as a Marine attack helicopter pilot. More than 150 combat missions. Part family tradition, part service to country, part in service to those space dreams.
I never wanted to close the door to becoming an astronaut, and military service certainly was not closing that door.
3.
A karmic clarity brought Mogbelli earlier today to this door.
Liftoff. Go Falcon, go Dragon, go Crew 7.
The hatch of a SpaceX Crew Dragon. A 40-year-old mother of 2 commanding an international crew of 4.
The fact that humans go to space at all is still really mind-blowing to me.
And what about that view?
Yes, the view back at Earth. Every astronaut I've talked to has said looking back at Earth changed their perspective. I can't imagine what that's like for the first time. I even remember seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time, and I thought that was incredible. But looking back at our home planet from space, I just can't imagine.
Looking down on Earth, looking up to the universe of possibilities.
We as humans can't help but explore. I also think it's really important in inspiring the next generation.
To her, this morning's launch was about all that. Determination, exploration, inspiration, especially to the next generation of girls, like her twin daughters, Zelda and Estelle.
When they see the diverse crews that are going up there, they realize they can be a part of this. Whether it's becoming an astronaut or something else, they realize they can do it as well.
Like Mogbelli, who has always had her eyes on the stars. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Houston.
Still ahead here at 11, a car show for a great cause.
As dozens of vintage cars take over the Santa Monica Pier to help families of fallen officers.
Look at this. A woman in Pennsylvania was in the right place at the right time when she rescued this cute little bear cub stuck in a plastic jug. It took about 10 seconds to pull that jug off. Look at this. Look at this. Come on. All righty. So the bear then eventually climbed a tree. A park manager says the cub was weak and dehydrated. She didn't see a mama bear around, but she believes the cub is around 8 months old, which means now that this little cutie can survive on their own. Oh.
Well, Santa Monica police officers coasting to the West Coast during their annual car show. The Santa Monica Pier was filled with dozens of classic cars and motorcycles, and today's event was to raise money for the Police Officer Survivors Fund.
It's a fund that gives back to fallen officers, their families, their friends, so that during troubled times we can make sure that they have some assistance and someone to support them during their tough times.
Well, the money raised is donated to all police officer families in California whose loved ones have died while in service to their community.
Great cause right there, huh? Thanks for joining us. We are streaming 24/7, of course, on CBS News Los Angeles.
Sports Central with Chris Hayrie up next. Have a great night.
You're watching Sports Central on CBS Los Angeles.
Welcome into a Saturday night edition of Sports Central. Chris Hayrie here with you. Plenty of baseball with the Little Leaguers from El Segundo advancing to the championship game tomorrow in Williamsport. Plus, the Dodgers in Boston and the Halos in Queens. But we got to start with college football. Number 6 USC kicked off their 2023 campaign tonight against San Jose State at the Coliseum. The Trojans led by reigning Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams, who has his sights set on even more hardware this year. USC's final season opener as a Pac-12 program before they leave for the Big Ten next summer. On the opening drive, Caleb Williams dropping a dime to Dorian Singer, 13-yard touchdown. Trojans draw first blood. But San Jose State, they came ready. Second quarter, Kyrie Robinson punches through for a 1-yard score to tie it up at 7. Trojans at their own 24. Look at this. Williams fumbles the snap. Here comes the D, but here comes the Heisman winner. Airing it out to Taj Washington. 76 yards to the house. The longest touchdown pass of Williams' career puts SC up 14-7. Later in the second, Austin Jones takes the handoff, finds a hole. 2-yard score, USC up 21-14. But the Spartans staying in it. 13 seconds left in the half. Chevin Cordero hits a wide open Nick Nash in the end zone. San Jose State cuts the Trojans lead back to 7. Third quarter now, fourth down conversion. Jones goes untouched for a 3-yard carry over the left side. His second score of the night. Trojans go up 2 touchdowns. After making his first catch in the first half, Zachariah Branch gets his first touchdown reception. An impressive 25-yarder. What a debut by the true freshman, in large part because of this. Spartans would score on the ensuing drive, but it's Branch again. Turns on the Jets. 96-yard touchdown return. Branch finishes with 232 all-purpose yards. USC cruises to a 1-0 start to the season. They win 56-28.
Good to be 1-0. Like honestly, I would say no matter what the score was tonight, a lot to be excited about, a lot of work to do. Excited about a lot of things that we saw out there tonight.
I feel good. I mean, we're 1-0. You always, Coach said this, and walking off the field, there's a bit of frustration that a couple of whether coaches or myself or the players that have been here and seen and know how it should go, and been playing ball for a while in college, and you've been in a lot of games, been in a lot of reps, and in the first half there was a lot of it just felt like we weren't hitting on certain calibers and things like that we're going to hit on here soon.
The Trojans offense got off to a slow start, but would eventually find their groove. Just over 500 total yards of offense. They outscored the Spartans 35-14 in the second half. Let's go to baseball now. The Dodgers have been the best team in baseball during the month of August. 20-3 during this month while stretching their division lead to double digits. They've won 5 out of their last 6 entering tonight's game in Boston against the Red Sox. Dodgers looking to pick up their 4th straight win in Boston. Tied at 2 in the 5th. Max Muncy, 2-run shot into the right field stands. His 30th home run of the season gives the Dodgers a 4-2 lead. But in the 6th, Julio Urias gives up a 3-run blast to Adam Duvall. Sails over the Green Monster. Boston goes in front 5-4. Urias gave up 6 earned tonight. Dodgers trail 7-5 in the 8th. Bases loaded for Muncy. He's caught out on strikes, doesn't like it. Dave Roberts comes out, has choice words for the ump. Both would be tossed. So here comes Mookie, representing the go-ahead run. Bases loaded in the 9th. Sends a fly ball to center. An easy grab at the track. Dodgers lose this one, 8-5. How about the Angels looking for their 2nd straight win over the Mets? Top of the 1st, Shohei Ohtani gets things going for the Halos. Lifts this one to right center for his 24th double of the season. The Angels would drive him in on the next play. Halos now lead 3-0. Ohtani lines one down the right field line. A run scores. Ohtani slides into 3rd for his 8th triple. That's tied for the Major League lead. The Angels get the win, 5-3. Let's go down a few levels. The Little League World Series as El Segundo takes on Texas for the U.S. Championship. No score, bottom of the 1st. Brody Brooks hits one out to center for a leadoff home run for El Segundo. They are on the board, 1-0. Now to the 3rd, 2-1 for Louis Lappy. He singles a base hit up the middle, a 2-run RBI double. He extends the lead to 3-0. Big game for Lappy. Later in the 5th, El Segundo in the lead, 3-1 rather. This is a no-doubter over the right field fence, 3-run bomb. El Segundo beats Texas 6-1. They take the U.S. title, and they play for the World Championship tomorrow against Curacao. Let's go to the Tour Championship, and La Cañada's Collin Morikawa followed up his opening round of 61 with another clean card for a 6 under 64 yesterday. That gives him the lowest 36-hole score at East Lake at a share of the lead with Victor Hovland entering moving day. And it's $11.5 million difference between first and second. That's a lot of money. Morikawa still with the share of the lead. Fifth hole, big mistake though. Third shot doesn't reach the green, rolls into the bunker. Morikawa would double bogey the hole, so that opens the door for Hovland. And boy, did he take advantage. After a short birdie at the sixth, Hovland a 3-shot lead when he fires this start on the seventh from 161 out. Gives him a look at birdie. Hovland sinks the 12-foot putt. Back-to-back birdies to get to 18 under, and suddenly he's got a 4-shot cushion. Xander Schauffele, one of the few golfers to come close on this day. On 7, drains a 15-foot putt from the fringe. Schauffele in second at 14 under. The round interrupted by a 75-minute weather delay, but after play resumed, Hovland keeps his hot play going. Drains the 11-foot putt on 12. Gets to 19 under, and for good measure on 13, Hovland rolls in another one. This birdie, a 22-footer, a 66. Hovland takes a commanding 6-shot lead at 20 under, entering tomorrow's final round.
Putting it all together, I don't think I've ever played this well before. Haven't, with this stretch, just putting all the short game and stuff together. I've certainly hit the ball this good before. I feel like I've hit the ball better than I have this week and even last week. But, it's just about putting it all together.
All right, coming up, a big high school matchup from the Sunshine State, a battle of top 10 teams as St. John Bosco traveled to Fort Lauderdale to take on a powerhouse in St. Thomas Aquinas. And a violent crash tonight at Daytona that saw this car take numerous flips. Don't go anywhere. There's more Sports Central when we come back.
On Branch. That's a great job. What a great job by Zachariah Branch. Freshman to the house.
That's a true freshman. Zachariah Branch, a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. He also had a receiving score. He finished with 232 all-purpose yards.
I didn't really have any expectations. Coach Riley and the rest of the staff just told me to go out there, don't try to do too much, execute your job, and the rest will follow. And I was blessed enough to get those opportunities, and I just tried to capitalize off of them.
More college football. 13th ranked Notre Dame taking on Navy in Dublin, Ireland, with Fighting Irish legend Joe Montana. Joe Cool in Ireland. Late first quarter, Notre Dame up 7-0. Jadarian Price takes it 19 yards for the touchdown. Gives the Fighting Irish a 2-score lead after the first quarter. Now in the third, Notre Dame up 4 scores. Quarterback Sam Hartman escapes pressure, finds Jaden Greathouse in the end zone. One of 4 touchdown passes from the transfer from Wake Forest, and one of 2 touchdown catches for Greathouse. Notre Dame rolls 42-3. Well, we had a big one tonight in high school football, a battle between 2 national powerhouses. Last year's national champion St. John Bosco traveled to Fort Lauderdale to take on St. Thomas Aquinas. Now, this was a rematch of a 2017 game in which Aquinas beat the Braves 9-6 in overtime. That was the last time the Braves lost to a program outside of California. Tough road battle, but the team from Bellflower, they were ready for this one pregame and in-game. Late first quarter, scoreless. Caleb Sanchez goes deep for Daniel Odom. Makes a great catch. Says, get off me. Big time stiff arm, 50-yard score. Bosco up 7-0. Pumped up about it on the sidelines as well. Now to the fourth quarter. Braves go up 10-7. Sanchez finds a wide open Madden Williams for the touchdown. 340 passing yards on the day for the senior. They tack on a field goal for good measure. Bosco wins 20-7. They snap Aquinas' 27-game winning streak. Braves improved to 2-0 on this season. Let's go to Denver. Rams taking on the Broncos for their preseason finale. Rookie quarterback Stetson Bennett still tuning up here. Life in the NFL is a little different. Intercepted by Isang Bassi. Next Rams possession, Bennett just does not see the linebacker Drew Sanders. He was replaced by Brett Rippon, finished 4 of 9 for 14 yards, but the Rams lose 41-0. An intense wreck at the Daytona International Speedway tonight. NASCAR driver Ryan Preece swerved out of the racetrack. His car took flight, flipped nearly a dozen times. It appeared to be on fire when it eventually landed. Preece luckily exited the vehicle after the crash and thankfully taken to a local medical center for further evaluation. Austin Reeves put on a show for Team USA as the Americans open up FIBA World Cup competition this morning against New Zealand. And our Jim Hill sits down with Dodgers broadcaster Charlie Steiner. That's next. Team USA playing its FIBA World Cup opener against New Zealand. This highlight is sponsored by Austin Reeves. Second quarter, hits a 3 off the dribble. Third quarter now, US up 13. Reeves with one of his 3 steals. Going to finish with the up and under. Then on the very next play, he pulls up for the jumper and he buries it. 12 points in the game. Team USA beats New Zealand 99-72. Opening weekend of the U.S. Gymnastics Nationals, and Simone Biles dominating in typical fashion. After 2 years away, Biles earned a total of 59.300 at the halfway point of the competition. That is just 4 routines away from a record 8th national all-around title. Longtime Dodgers broadcaster Charlie Steiner grew up following the team in Brooklyn and first fell in love with the game while listening to Vin Scully on the radio. Then in 1981, Steiner came to Los Angeles to cover the 1981 World Series, where he would end up meeting his future broadcasting partner of nearly 19 years.
Boys in Blue, sponsored by Capozio Buick GMC.
I remember talking to this tall center fielder after the game with this big, deep voice. It was Rick Monday. Yeah. And I go back to New York and I tell my staff, there's a broadcaster in this Monday fella. A, he's articulate. B, he's photogenic. C, he's got the voice. And little did I know, we'd be working together for now 19 years.
Does Rick know that story?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I said, I discovered you before you got discovered. Mo and I, we couldn't be luckier. I mean, we've had a 19-year marriage. And in this business, to have people come and go all the time, and yet here we are, and we're still having fun, and they still invite us back every year.
And the seat that you sit in was occupied by the best.
That I will never, ever underestimate the importance of it and the importance of it to me. And most folks, or at least some folks, know the story. I grew up in New York, and I was a Brooklyn Dodger fan. And the first time I heard a baseball game on the radio, on WMGM 1050, where I first heard Vin. And I heard the crack of the bat and the crowd cheering and this overarching voice, and I knew right then and there what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a Dodger announcer. Little did I know, a year later they would move, and 50-something years later, I would be out here and now completing my 19th year.
When I think about Vinny Scully, to me, he is like the North Star. Everybody wants to be like him, and that's a good reason or person or subject to have or object to have to reach for.
Oh, well, exactly. And people would say, oh, gee, when we first came out here, Vin would do the first 3 innings simulcast, and they'd say, does that bother you? No, why? Look, I was happy to play Pepper with Babe Ruth all those years. And the guy that I wanted to be as a child, who then became a mentor and a friend and a co-worker, never had an issue with any of that stuff. And I wouldn't be talking to you now had it not been for Vin. I don't know what else I would have done for a living. He was, as you said before, he was the North Star. He was the guy that I wanted to be like. I never, ever said, oh, I'm going to replace him. No, he's irreplaceable. And again, he was this second father figure to me. And we just had a wonderful relationship, and that last year that we were together was fabulous, and really until he passed away, it was almost a father-son relationship. I loved it.
And the likes of a Vin Scully shall never be seen again.
Hell
never cross our path again.
Hell no, not even close. There will be other great broadcasters, but not Vin. He defined the genre.
Isn't it amazing to have a job where they're paying you to have fun?
Oh man, there's not a day that goes by. Again, this is our office. This is Dodger Stadium. The San Gabriel Mountains are off in the distance. The palm trees and 50,000 folks a night. I started in this racket my freshman year in college in 1967. So that's what, 56 years? And I still haven't worked a day in my life.
Love that conversation. All right, time for our final break. When we come back, Leo Messi continues his incredible play in his MLS debut tonight as Inter Miami goes up against the New York Red Bulls.
To his right. He keeps it on his left, of course. Oh, what a ball to Kamaski! Oh! To Messi!
Ridiculous. Lionel Messi at it again, coming in as a sub in the 60th minute. He made his official MLS debut by setting up his own goal and then getting the assist for the easy put-in. His 11th goal in 9 appearances for Inter Miami. They defeat the New York Red Bulls 2-0. More soccer, LAFC on the road taking on Charlotte. 75th minute with the score even at 1. Long blast for Charlotte. John McCarthy makes the initial save but can't get the rebound. Scott Arfield scores the winner. Charlotte takes it 2-1. Back in LA, the Galaxy taking on the Chicago Fire. We're picking up scoreless in the 29th minute. Off the set piece, Douglas Costa whips it into the box. Tyler Boyd puts it in the far corner. Galaxy take a 1-0 lead. Same score, 72nd minute. Ricky Puig gets a touch from top of the box, scores to double the lead. Galaxy snaps a 3-game losing streak. They win it 3-0. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great Saturday night. We'll see you tomorrow.